Well, good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday night. And thank you guys so much for being here. I'm Jessica Jones. I'm the Cryptid Huntress. And boy, do we have another fantastic show for you guys this evening. I have my friend, I have a co-host here tonight. My special co-host, I have Mark Machek here in the studio with me tonight. He's going to be co-hosting this with me tonight. And I'm supposed to have my very good friend, Jeff Townsend, here in the studio tonight. He's been having some technical difficulties, and we are going to hope that he shows up tonight, but I do know his story. We're going to talk about it no matter what, if he does make it tonight or not. Gosh, we've got a fantastic show, like I said. So you guys go get your popcorn, buckle in, and get ready for the ride. Okay, we're going to go down some rabbit holes again tonight, and it's going to be all about experiences and some research, particularly into Dogman tonight. Okay, so if you guys would like to follow along with what I do in all of my shows, please go to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all of my shows, and you can find the best way to get in touch with me is there on that show, on that website there. All of my shows are there listed, and there's a calendar of all the places where I will be this coming year at the conferences and squatch outs, get-togethers, whatever we're doing, it's on that website. So yes, also, if you'd like to support my work, you can join my Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. And so a big shout out to all of my members on my Patreon. Okay, thank you guys so much. Also, I do have a shop that's called War Woman Goods over on Etsy. And yes, I do send out free merch with every purchase, free Cryptid Huntress merch. So there's going to be at least one or two pieces of something or other that says the Cryptid Huntress on it when you buy something out of my shop. Okay, well, I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Oh my gosh, we had such a fantastic week of shows here on my channel, and tonight is no different, of course. So without any further ado, I can say ado. I want to bring up my co-host tonight. I have Mark Machek here. Now, Mark is also known as Cryptidville, and you guys will know he's actually becoming becoming my Saturday night co-host, kind of, because he's been here with me the past 2 or 3 Saturdays, and tonight is no different. So please help me welcome to the show, Mark Machek. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Jessica. Thank you for having me as a co-host again.
Oh, of course. Of course. I love having you here.
Thank you, and greetings to everyone in the chat, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy our discussion this evening.
Well, I sure hope so, because I know I always enjoy all the conversations that we have, and we've had some really interesting ones. And tonight, so Jeff has not gotten here into the studio yet. So I do know his story. Listen, I had dinner actually. My son and I had dinner with Jeff yesterday. And he refreshed my memory on his Dogman encounters, Mark. And he's had more than one. And both of them have occurred here in the South. One was in South Georgia, near where I actually went to college, down in South Georgia. And the other was down in Florida. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Jeff Townsend is in my chat pretty often. And Jeff and I have been friends for quite a while. We're practically neighbors. Okay, he lives not too far from me, and I wanted to hopefully, like I said, hopefully he'll be here in just a few minutes, but if not, I wanted to just let the audience know his background, because he actually he was formerly in the Navy. Okay, he spent 4 years after graduating from high school in the U.S. Navy in Attack Squadron VA-15 on board the USS America and the USS Independence. He spent the next 35 years working on the flight line at Lockheed Martin as a flight line mechanic, and later in QA as the senior chief flight inspector for the C130J, C130J, I think is how you say it, production flight team. He was responsible for all the maintenance being performed correctly from initial arrival at the flight line all the way, and he retired back in May of 2015. And Jeff is a character, man. I love me some Jeff. He's, like I said, he's a good friend of mine, and he's had a lot of cryptid activity. He's not an actual field researcher. He doesn't consider himself a field researcher, but Mark, he has had plenty of experience with, I'm going to say Bigfoot and Dogman, but his most notable encounters were dogman encounters, which I find interesting because you've actually had multiple dogman encounters yourself, right, Mark?
I've had 2, and 2 is enough.
Mhm. Yeah, right. Right. Well, that's kind of the same. That's the same as Jeff, I believe. Now, there's 2 that I know of that I know off the top of my head, and I did want to discuss those tonight, and I hope that he can be here to tell it himself. But if he's not, okay, I want to talk about this hyena dogman because Mark, I am hearing about the hyena dogman almost. I'm going to say more than most other dogmen when I get firsthand reports. There's a lot of those out there. And I know hyena is not actually a dog. Okay, a hyena is more
Correct.
related to a cat, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's actually a member of the feline uh, genus, and you know, but to look at them, they have many of the attributes of a canine. Um, but if a I always look at it from the perspective of if you took into a lab all of the attributes of all the animals on the planet to create some kind of weapon or some kind of chimera, what would you take? And hyena would definitely be in that group.
Oh yeah, hyenas are. Well, I think a honey badger would be kind of a cool one too, don't you?
Yeah,
A honey badger,
that would be a cool one.
a honey badger. I think a lion, a bear, but a wolf and a hyena. Man, hyenas are terrifying, and to me, it seems like they do more damage because they run in packs too. Um,
Right.
it's almost like a big group of piranhas. You know how they get on a piece of meat. I mean that's what would really scare me even worse. I mean, it's bad enough seeing one of them, but imagine running into a pack of hyena dogmen out there. Now, I haven't heard any stories of packs of hyena dogmen, but even who did we have on? Oh, we had Ryan Tremblay on the show a couple weeks ago, and he said that his dogman encounter was actually a hyena type that he saw. And I pulled this picture up, and he said that this was actually very much like what he saw in somebody in his friend's backyard. So, man, okay. So, and according to the North American Dogman Project, you know, they've got these categorized into different types of dogmen, and the canine variant 2 is the hyena type. So, if people are wondering what it kind of looks like, I would assume it's that right there. Okay, so number 2 down there at the bottom. And like I said, I'm hearing about this more and more. And one of Jeff's encounters happened down in South Georgia, and I don't hide the fact that my team, we go down to this area. It's called the Troop Herd Corridor, and it's down in Middle Georgia, and it's not too far from an Army base down there, and that is Fort Benning. It's not super close to that, but it's also not very far. But we do have to kind of take note of that, Mark, because a lot of these cryptid sightings are around military bases. Have you heard that?
Yes, the interesting thing that I'm hearing here lately is that whisperings of some of these things being employed as security forces for some of these installations. And, it makes sense to me that they would be or would be considered for use for that purpose.
Mhm.
Um, but then at the on the other hand, you have to look at the factors that are involved with that whole concept because you have something that's you know created that's part animal and works purely off of instinct. How do you 100% control that? And I think that in some cases, some of the things that people are running into, some of the outcomes that people are experiencing may be because of those factors.
Yeah, I think so too. I have one of my teammates. He lived. Oh, I can't remember the name of the army base, but he was up in D.C. around the D.C. area, and there is a particular Sasquatch up there. I can't remember its name. Gosh, I can't remember right now. But my friend Glenn, when he was a kid, he and his friends, or a young man, they encountered the Sasquatch. I just remember it was like really dark and it had super white teeth. Okay, I can't remember the name of it. I'll think of it in a minute because it was in the area where George Washington lived, up there near DC. So wherever George Washington's house is, it was right there. But that was right there on an army base. It was right there by the army base, and that was a big deal. And we've actually got together and did a show about that because there are a lot of reports of Sasquatch and Dogman around those army and just military installments and bases. And I actually have I have a couple of different guys. A few of the guys on my teams are, military, current and former. And I think it was Chris Harper actually was talking about how he had run into I think it was a Sasquatch in the swamp down at Fort Stewart. I believe it's either Fort Benning or Fort Stewart, probably Fort Stewart, because that's closer to the swamps and stuff down there. Nonetheless, we're dealing with the gnats and we're on the snakes and everything. And then we got Bigfoot down in the swamps as well, down here. But yeah, but it is a common occurrence hearing about cryptids in the military. Now, some people say that the cryptids, especially dogmen, are working with our military. What do you think about that?
I've heard that too, and if you look at everything, that we come into contact as far as information, there's people that report that the whole connection between cryptids and UFOs and the government and the military, working hand in hand. So it makes sense to me that if they're connected, that there could be some cooperation there. Can't really validate any of that from firsthand experience. It's all speculation. But the only thing that I can validate is a and I hate to even bring this up because I've already uh, given explicit rights to this story to an author, but my actual second encounter with a Bigfoot or experience with a Bigfoot took place on a military installation.
Oh my
And that story is going to be in a book, so I don't really want to get into that because I've given that person explicit rights to use that. But after it comes out, I'll be more than happy to talk about it. A very, very interesting experience, and but nonetheless, there does seem to be a growing sense of cooperation between the military government and these entities. Whether it be Bigfoot, Dogman, little green men, aliens, whatever you want to call them, and it just there's too many stories that are coming out that are pointing in that direction
Yeah,
to
I
ignore it.
agree. Oh yeah, for sure. So David Hewlett, thank you so much. It's the Mount Vernon monster. I don't know how I could forgotten that. The Mount Vernon monster. That is where George Washington did have his house up there. Does have a house there. Okay, and that's what my friend and his friends encountered when they were younger. And they said that the property actually was a really nice neighborhood, and it backs into, I think, a military base right there. And that's where, and they're like, don't ever cross that line right there because it's a military base. As kids, they were warned not to go there. And so what did they do when they were kids? I think they went there, and that's where they encountered it. Yeah,
That's usually how it goes.
exactly. That is usually how it goes. And so, yeah, that's exactly what I would have done when I was Glenn's that age, because I did do stuff like that. Okay, I did. But yeah, they are the perfect killing machine. And I do see, yeah, the military. I don't see why the military wouldn't use any kind of thing they could weaponize. I mean, we talk about that pretty often. Somebody was saying that they militarize or they weaponize dolphins. So why wouldn't they make things that are killing machines? Okay, why not? Well, okay, well, Jeff has not gotten here, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about his story tonight, if that's okay with you, Mark. let's just go ahead and talk about it, because I think this is important as far as the research goes. And I was stressing to Jeff yesterday about how important this is. I know he was really excited about being here tonight. I feel bad that he's not here. I'm going to bring him back on. If he doesn't show up before the end of the show tonight, I'm going to bring him back on and get him on. We are having storms here in Georgia tonight, so there could be some issues with that. I don't know if y'all can hear it thundering outside my window right now. But okay, so let's get into his stories, because the first sighting that he had, I believe was the first one, was in South Georgia. Like I said, it was a hyena type dogman. Now, I don't know a whole lot of details about that one. I just know that he saw it, and he said that he had never heard anyone talk about a hyena type dogman until he was listening to a show that I did a long time ago when I was doing hosting a show at Texas Front Porch, and I was doing my remote viewing show there for a while. And Tex and I did a show on the land between the lakes and the alleged family that was mauled to death there. And I had remote viewed that. That was one of my targets. And we were talking about it. And I was talking about what I saw. It looked kind of more like a hyena type. And so Jeff contacted me, actually. I don't even know if I knew Jeff back then. And he contacted me. He said, and that's what it looks like, that type variant 2 right there. That was the closest thing that I could describe as to what I was seeing when I was remote viewing that attack. And what I was seeing, I actually saw 2 of those things. Now, they weren't that brown color. They were more black from what I was seeing, from what I could tell. But they didn't look like the typical like German Shepherd type, or that you hear about. They looked more like they had a shorter snout on them and kind of werewolfish a little bit, dare I say, is what they were looking like. And so, but Jeff contacted me at some point and was telling me, he was like, I've never heard anybody say anything about a hyena type dogman. He said, but that's exactly the way that I described that. What I was seeing was exactly what he encountered in South Georgia. Now, Georgia is a good ways from Kentucky, where that attack happened. But we also heard from Ryan Tremblay was saying that he saw, the one that he saw was all the way, I think he lives in Arizona or New Mexico. I think it's Arizona. So these things, and you're in Kentucky as well. And I know you've probably heard stories about these hyena types before. And
I have heard a couple.
Yeah. And so they're kind of all over the place. They're all over the place. So we have a wide variety of these critters all over. So, but he did see that one. And he also was talking about, he told me about how it had this big, huge tuft of hair on the back of its neck, like a mane is what he was saying. So they have like manes. I think both of the dogmen that he's encountered look like they had manes, like a lion or something. But he said that it makes it look, it has a humpback. And I thought, and I actually found this picture because I think my friend Vic Cundiff, for his Dogman Encounters show that he does, he uses this picture because this is a very common shape of how people describe what they saw when they encounter a dogman. And it does have what appears to be, let's get this picture up. It looks like a hump on its back, like on its neck. But see, what Jeff was telling me, that it looked almost like it was more like, it's not just a hump, it's hair. It's like long hair on the back of its neck that sticks up like a lion's mane. So that's how he described the first one. And I'm telling y'all, I'm going to get him here. If he doesn't show up today, he's going to come back and tell a story. But the second one, I believe he was in Florida, Mark. And for people who know Jeff, they know Jeff. He's friends with Donnie. If you guys are familiar with Donnie, he has a standing goats rescue down there. And I believe he may have been with Donnie when this one happened. And I believe that's near Panama City. And I know we have a lot of international people that watch that aren't from the United States. This is the area that we're referring to tonight, and this is where he had his encounter. Down here in it's near Panama City, Florida. So in that upper panhandle of Florida. Now I live in Georgia, which is right above it to the right, and then you're straight north in Kentucky, Mark. But this is the area. So I just kind of want to put it on the map so people will be familiar with what we're talking about and the area we're talking about. Because we were talking about on Thursday night, I was discussing another dogman story out of Florida, Mark. we were talking about the Fort Pierce Dogman, and that's on the Atlantic side. So I was actually kind of surprised to hear about all the Dogman sightings in Florida. Does it surprise you that they have multiple Dogman encounters down there?
Well, yes and no, and the reason why is because you have a lot of different, and it goes back to that whole military connection. You have a lot of different DoD organizations that function in Florida and in Alabama and Georgia, and it makes sense to me that if they are utilizing these things, that it's possible that they could be utilized more in those areas. Um, but yeah, that whole Fort Pierce thing, um, you know, uh, it's sorry for the pause. I was hearing a knocking, and I'm hoping that that is not somebody at the door.
Uh-oh.
So that whole Fort Pierce thing, uh, when you look at that video, when I first saw that video, one of the things that came to my mind was, you always hear people talk about how fast these things are, and I've personally seen how fast some of these creatures or entities, whatever you want to call them, how fast they can move. And uh, one thing that I um, was looking in there for a while is how they're able to do that, and how they're able to move like and or um, transform into like a mist or be moving so fast that it's just a blur, and I have a tendency myself personally to throw little tidbits out to people that may or may not make sense to them without actually telling them, why I'm doing or saying what I'm saying. But the other night I mentioned that movie Ninja Assassin. Have you ever seen that movie?
I saw American Ninja when I was a kid. That was one of my favorites. But no, I haven't seen Ninja Assassin.
And I know everybody's thinking, What does ninjas and Ninja Assassin have to do with this?" But it's very, very important because in that movie, you have Rizzo, the main character, and then you have the um, the guy that basically was running the organization that he was brought up in, and in there it actually shows them moving like that, and how
Oh.
they're just like a blur, and
Hmm.
how they're like seemingly invisible, but it's not that they're invisible. It's just they're moving so fast that you can't really see them, right?
Right.
So I mentioned that in the chat the other night because I think it's important that we look at different things, and I'm going to reference one of my videos that I did about the whole question of Bigfoot, Dogman, or cryptids in general being related somehow to the Nephilim. And in that video, you know, I I like to inspire people to think for themselves, and that's why I do and say some of the things that I do. And in that video, I talk about Sun Wukong, who is the Monkey King from
Uh-huh.
ancient Chinese legend. And if you look at, if even if you watch the Americanized version of that movie, it still gives you the same story of that legend. All right.
Right.
And in there, so in a nutshell, Sun Wukong he was born as a monkey, and then supposedly this energy from outer space came down and transformed him into, kind of merged him with, um, he wasn't, he was kind of hybridized by that energy,
Hmm.
and um, he became more human than, or it was kind of like a 50-50 kind of split. He was kind of half human, half monkey. Well, in the course of the story, and I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but um, he goes to be instructed by these Taoist gods, at in the heavens, on how to be, um, as a deity, how to be, fulfilled in that role. And one thing that's very interesting is in that movie, it talks about these things, and I've heard this before. Early in my life when I was interested in Asian culture, um, the talk of what's called the 72 transformations, right?
Hmm.
So in those Taoist and Buddhist religions, you have these different transformations that come into play. And I'm not an expert on any of that stuff, but it's just things that I've come in contact with through the years. But in that, in the and more so in the Taoist religion, you know, Taoists believe in a balance between good and evil. So there it gets into that big discussion of what's good and what's evil. There has to be both in order for there to be balance. So, anyways, with those 72 transformations, um, basically in the movie, it's depicted that he can turn himself into a cloud. He can turn himself invisible. He can change himself into an animal, and all these different things. And these are the same things that, if you look at the whole the Bigfoot Dogman phenomenon, that people encounter when dealing with these things. So, in my opinion, there is a connection there with Eastern culture and Eastern uh, legend to these things that we experience on a, that's, well, not that we experience, that some people experience when they're out and about doing their thing. And I'm not trying to steal the show, but um, I thought it was important to bring that up, that these things are utilizing, uh, possibly these attributes or these methods to move the way that they're moving. And it's kind of like, where did who ca- what came first, the chicken or the egg?
I was about to
So
say that. I was going to say that because they may have been here. This is like ancient stuff, right? Ancient knowledge. I mean, did the people in these religions, the Taoists, did they learn it from these cryptids, these animals? I mean, they may not have been cryptids back then. They may have just been living harmoniously amongst each other. I mean, we really don't know. I know our history is not what we're told for sure, but yeah, which came first? Did they learn it? Who learned it from who? And
yeah,
you listen to the Sierra sounds that Ron Moorhead and his buddy, I can't remember his first name, but Barry. Okay, his last name is Barry. Uh, they made the Sierra sound recordings, and it sounds like the Sasquatch are actually speaking in archaic Japanese. Okay, like there's different dialects, different sounds, Spanish, Native American dialects and languages there, and Italian and English and German and stuff. It's really weird, but it's just like a combination, and it's like they're utilizing all of them in that one recording that they've got, or they got multiple recordings. But it's really interesting, really cool.
well,
There's just
the
so much that we don't know.
oh yeah, and you know it's all speculation, but there's good speculation and there's bad speculation. There's educated speculation and uneducated speculation. And if you look at that whole thing, one of the first things that I heard of, that I thought of when I not that I heard of, that I thought of when I heard the Sierra sounds, was it sounds so much like Japanese.
Hmm.
And, I had asked the question that a lot of people had asked, did they have somebody, that was able to speak or knew those languages, analyze that audio and try to determine if there were actual connections to the language. And, one of the interesting things about that whole concept is, if you go to the source of what these things, if you ask the hard question, uh, or questions about what these things could be, then you're going to look at the whole concept or connection that comes from like the Japanese culture to these things. And in Japan they have they're forest demons is what they're called, and they're called oni. Now, interestingly, if you look at the oni, they're depicted as having uh, long hair and blue skin. And they're the interesting thing about that is, and I think it could be a regional type thing. Um, and another thing that goes along with that is, when you're in the mountains, and I don't know exactly how it is in Japan, as far as humidity levels and moisture and content and all that good stuff, but in the wilderness, in the woods, sometimes things are made to look different colors than what they actually are because of those factors, light refraction and the moisture content in the air. And a prime example of that is, I was raised up in the deep south, and I was taught how to hunt and track by old timers. And I always used to hear them talk about this thing called the blue deer.
Ooh.
And basically, when you're out in the woods hunting, uh, you come upon this deer, or this deer comes out, and it is actually blue. It looks blue, but it's not actually blue. And I would hear them talk about this, and I was like, man, they're just old timers talking about craziness, until I actually saw one.
Mhm.
And basically, this doe deer walked out into the middle of this wide open field, and it was just the right amount of moisture in the air, right light refraction off of that moisture actually made that deer look blue. So I bring that up to say that maybe, you know, and it could even be, moisture or secretion content on their skin that that causes them to look blue. But I definitely think there's a connection, and it gets back into that whole thing of who taught who, or was there shared communication there?
Yes. Okay. And I was just thinking, you're in Kentucky, and I've seen the pictures of the family. There's a blue skin family in Kentucky, and some people do say that's from elevated levels of copper in their water, I think, and it seems to be quite the anomaly.
Well,
But
actually,
hmm.
that's Kentucky, is a mining state. There's a lot of coal mining. There are some silver mines here, and actually that condition, that I forget the name of the family, but basically that condition is caused by a, high concentration of silver protein in
Silver.
their water that they drink, and that condition is called a gyra. And basically, what it is, it's not that the silver in the water turns their skin blue, but it's a it's a protein that's present when it naturally occurs that causes their skin to turn that color. Um, it doesn't, have any, as far as I know, it doesn't have any long-term health effects, but um, other than
Just turn
turning them
blue.
blue.
Yeah, it is an odd look for sure, and it's almost kind of Smurfish. But but I've been hearing people being interviewed and talking about how many centuries ago humans had blue skin, or could have potentially had blue skin and stuff. So I don't know. That's a whole other conversation, I guess, for another show. But it's really interesting, and it's something to think about for sure. It's food for thought. And yeah,
Definitely.
there's so many facets to these cryptids, and to the history behind them. And we have Brown Dwarf in the chat too. What's up, Brown Dwarf? He was saying during my show, we were talking about the Florida Fort Pierce Dogman on Wednesday or Thursday night, and he was him and other people in the chat were saying when they had their encounters and saw a cryptid of any sort, from Bigfoot or Dogman. That I just got a message from Jeff, so maybe he's hopping on right now. I hope. But they said that it was almost like turning the pages in a cartoon book or something. It was like like every other frame was missing or something, kind of, in a way, if that makes sense. As far as their movements go. So, I mean, we even we went down the rabbit hole of it being holographic as well. So,
Well, that from my understanding of it, now I had a gentleman explain this whole concept to me. When you have people that practice dark arts and stuff like that, they are able to move like that, and there is a name for it, and it's in a nutshell, it's all through the use of dark forces that they are able to move in that fashion.
mhm.
So it is a real thing, and there are people that can do it. So it makes sense to me that these cryptids could do it as well.
Yes, I think so too. Okay, I'm looking for Jeff. He says he's here, but I don't see him in here. So Jeff, if you're watching, click that link. It's the StreamYard link, and it'll bring you in, and I'll pull you up. Okay, because I really do want the audience to hear your story tonight, about what you saw. And I was actually about to get into that, and if Jeff will hop on, we'll let Jeff tell the story, because I did title the show today, "In the Crosshairs." Okay, Dogman in the Crosshairs, because Jeff actually honed in on an actual dogman, and I believe this was down in Florida, and he had it in his sight, okay, in his scope of his big old rifle. I think he had like a 450 Bushmaster or something, okay, and so he was out in the woods and had the sight. Okay, Jeff is actually here, y'all. I'm so excited. Jeff is here. So I'm going to let Jeff tell his story now. Everybody, let me go through before I pull Jeff up. Let me go over his. I'm actually going to read his bio before I bring him up now, in full, in totality. Okay, because I see him getting his camera together right now. Okay, so Jeff Townsend spent 4 years after graduating from high school in the U.S. Navy in Attack Squadron VA-15 on board the USS America and the USS Independence. He spent the next 35 years working on the flight line at Lockheed Martin as a flight line mechanic, and later a QA as the senior chief flight inspector for the C130J Production Flight Team. He was responsible for all the maintenance being performed correctly, from the initial arrival at the flight line all the way. He retired in May of 2015 with 35 years of service. He's always had an interest in Bigfoot, but he had to look into it alone because of his employment with Lockheed. He's had many experiences, mostly positive, but some were terrifying as well. And oh my gosh, I did mention briefly the one down in South Georgia, but I'm going to let Jeff tell us about these again. And so I'm about to pull up Jeff Townsend. I'm so excited he's here. Please tell me welcome to the show, my buddy Jeff. Hey Jeff, are you there? Jeff, can you hear me? Hey Jeff. Hey Jeff, can you hear me? I don't know if he can hear us, y'all. Jeff, you there? Here, maybe I should take him back down. Let's see if he's on here. How about this? How about I take Jeff back down for a minute? I'm worried. He may not know he's on screen yet, y'all. Okay. So as soon as I see Jeff get settled back in, we're going to bring him back up. Okay. Because he has some serious encounters, and I really want him to talk about it. It looks like his internet, he may need to get closer to his router as well, to his modem. But yeah, Jeff, you know, it really, I don't want to say it just like lends so much more credibility when you got people that have backgrounds like Jeff, but it kind of does when it comes. And I'm not saying that everybody else's stories are not credible. Gosh, I mean, I'm just a lonely, you know, mom down here in Georgia, and I had a lot of experience. But he worked at Lockheed Martin, okay, for 35 years. It's kind of a big deal when it comes down to being interested in the cryptids and working with fighter jets and things like that, and spending time in the Navy as well. I think is kind of a big deal as well. So he's still getting set up, y'all. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
Well, the thing about that a lot of people don't realize is that in order to work for some of these companies, you have to go through pretty extensive background checks, and you know, they just don't hire just anybody off the street.
No, for sure. Yeah. Well, Jeff has a lot of interesting stories, and his friend Donnie as well. And I'm not sure if he wants to talk about, you know, his experiences down there with Donnie, with Standing Goats Rescue. But I know Donnie's friends with a lot of the guys that are in the Bigfoot community, including, you know, a lot of my research friends from down in Florida, like Connor and even Flat Rock. I don't know if Flat Rock's in the chat tonight, but you know, I think a lot of it's just you know, a lot of people having really good people having really cool experiences, and some of them are not so nice, not nice experiences. They're pretty scary. And the fact that his friend has goats down there, I would think that the cryptids are attracted to farms and places where they have livestock like that. Wouldn't you, Mark?
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things that is a big thing here, I hear, you know, there's a lot of chicken production facilities here, and there's a lot of chicken houses, and we hear from time to time instances where these things are seen in and around those as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would think that the Bigfoots would have a big interest in like the goats and stuff, because it's, well, unfortunately it's a food source. I mean, you know, I've investigated properties where the chickens were going missing, and there was, I've talked about this a good bit. You know, that was up in Tennessee last year. We were up at that cave, investigating the cave that was said to potentially have skinwalkers banished into this cave, along with Dogman reports and Sasquatch. And we were expecting to see like prints and have tracks into the cave, because when the chickens were going missing out of their crate, out of their chicken pen, and it's something, clearly it's been sticking sticks in it to try to kind of flush the chickens out to the other side of their coop. And so whatever it was had hands, opposable thumbs and stuff, because it was using a stick to poke them. So it was either it could be a human, a feral human, or it could be like a Sasquatch or something. But there were clearly footprints as well around this chicken coop that looked like human barefoot footprints. And the chicken feathers, there was a line of chicken feathers going into the cave, Mark. But when we went into the cave, there were no footprints. There were no tracks at all. It was almost like whatever it was either crawled up the side of the wall and went into a cavern. But and it was all mud. I mean, the entire floor of that cave was mud, and it was thick mud, like thick. Where we got so deep into that cave, all of us were worried. I had on my muck boots, but a lot of the guys just had on like hiking boots and stuff. And we were all worried because we knew that we were screwed. Like if something came at us from the other end of the cave and charged at us, we were not only in a tight, cramped space, but our feet were so stuck in that mud that we were going to have a hard time running. I'm sure that we wouldn't have had a hard time running if we had to run. Okay. we would have been walking on the side of the wall probably to get out of there. But it was very dangerous down there. But we would have seen footprints. We would have seen a track line. We would have seen something, because the feathers there was no reason for those feathers to be up there unless something took the chicken up there. You know, the chicken didn't get out by itself. But yet there was no sign. I guess, you know, no Bigfoot sign. But yeah, maybe they crawl on the walls and stuff. Whew, that's a scary thought, isn't it? Or they went through a portal, you know. So it did feel like there was a portal. As soon as you walk down into that cave, Jeff is still sitting up. He's sitting down now. I'm giving him a second. Okay. I'm giving him a second. Okay, I think he's ready. Here we go. Let's see. I'm gonna pull him up now. Okay. And I got David Pardue in the chat too. Hey, David. David's going to come on soon here in the future. He's got some interesting activity on his property that involves a portal. So we're going to have David on soon. Cool. Okay. So please help me welcome to the show, my friend. This is Jeff Townsend, y'all. There's Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Can you hear us?
I hear you fine.
Okay, good. Okay. Yes, just stay close to the camera so we can hear you. So we pick up your microphone.
I've got another microphone right here.
Okay, great. I'm so happy to see you, Jeff. Thank you for being here.
Me too. This is a real privilege. I appreciate you asking them.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, I kind of told the audience a little bit about your Dogman, the first Dogman story about the one in South Georgia, but we want to hear about that if you want to tell it, and then we want to hear about your other story down in Florida.
Okay. Which one you want to hear first? Which one you want to hear first?
Let's talk about the one in Florida. Let's talk about that one.
Okay. The one on the phone. Okay, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Yep.
I can't hear myself. Let's see.
Sounds good.
Hang on, let me take it on. Oh, here we go. Check. Speak on. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I've got terrible audio on this phone. I got water in my phone. I got terrible audio on it.
Well, just talk. We can hear you.
Yeah, but I can't hear y'all. Is the problem? It sounds like I'm underwater.
You sound perfect. You sound better now, actually, than you did. Okay.
Here we go. Let's see.
Okay.
Hey,
is that better?
Now?
Okay. Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, is that better? Okay, two.
It's fine.
That's better for me for sure. Okay. Now let's get out of here. All right, here we go. Hey, folks. Sorry about that. I ran a little late. I apologize. I couldn't help it. You want to hear about the one with Donnie? You want to hear about the one I saw down in South Georgia?
Let's talk. Okay, let's talk about South Georgia then. Let's hear South Georgia.
Okay. I had some friends that had about 300 acres, not very far off from Loki Swamp, on the Columbus side. And I go there with their son. We were real good friends. Go there deer hunt, ride the roads. Watch deer cross the road. You can drive for 50 miles, not even cross a paved road. It's so rural down there. And one night I was about 2 or 3 miles from getting back on the paved road. I'd been riding a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours. And I stopped the truck and I left the door open, had my headlights on bright, and I had to use the bathroom right quick before I got on the paved road and started back towards their place. And I saw two does just come out the right hand side of that dirt road, and it was pretty kind of much of a double wide road. The scraper had went down there and scraped 2 sides of it and dished it out, so it's pretty wide right there. These two does come out with the flags up, and they run across the road, and they got to the other side of the road up on the bank, and both of them turned and look at me, but look right back at the way they come, with the flags still up, and then they were spooked, and they hauled freight again. I thought to myself, I might get sick. Coyote something come through here. So I knew something was trailing them, something by the way they were acting. And man, next thing I know, it was probably maybe a minute later, this gargantuan, and the only thing I could call this thing is a hyena. I thought I was going insane. It looked just like a humongous African hyena. It even had the skin, no hair on the tail, except for the very end, a little bushy end on it. And it was colored, spotted just like a hyena, and it looked pretty much just like a hyena, except it was much larger. Its nose was about 6-8 inches off the ground, and it was trailing them deer. It never even looked at me or my truck. It was so focused on tracking them deer that it never even looked at me. And I watched it go all the way across that dirt road, its head never moving any higher than what it was. It was shifting the track, I guess, shifting the trail. And I'm pretty sure he probably got one of them, if not both of them. He was massive. Man, I jumped in that truck so fast, it made your head swim. It was a big animal. I mean, a great big animal. I've never seen anything that big as far as canine wise. And I couldn't get back to the truck quick enough. Roll windows up, lock the doors. I got out of there, man. I didn't tell. I thought anybody I told it to think I was crazy. And I never heard of a dog. I mean, I never heard of one of those in Georgia or anything. LBL maybe, but not down here. And I didn't tell a soul about that for almost 11 years until you done an LBL remote viewing, and then I talked to you about it. And you said, yeah, those were hyena type dogmen as well. I didn't think anybody would believe that. I didn't know that there was hyena type dogmen. I've never seen one before. But that was quite a startling experience. I'll be honest with you. It kind of unnerved me a little bit. I didn't deer hunt anymore down there after that. I didn't want that running on me, man.
We don't have hyenas are not native to Georgia, so that it had to have been pretty confusing to you when you saw that.
It was very confusing to me because now Bigfoot. Yeah, I already seen Bigfoot by that time, and I was convinced of all that. But Dogman, I was kind of riding the fence on. I didn't really know if I believed in him or not until I saw that, and I didn't know if that was a Dogman or what it was. But I didn't tell a soul about that for 11 years. You're the first one I said something to about that incident. I just afraid people think I was nuts. I wouldn't believe me. I spent my whole life being trusty and trustworthy. I don't like to say something that people might not believe. And well, you hear the other story. It's too unbelievable to be believed. In my opinion, I wouldn't believe it if somebody told it to me. That's how really unbelievable it is. But it happened to me and Donnie. It happened. I know it happened. I'll go and do that if you want me to.
Yeah, tell us. Let's hear it.
I went down to visit Donnie. It's the first time I've been to his home. Donnie's the kind of guy I wanted to be friends with. I mean, I really wanted to be friends with him. He's just the best guy, the most honest guy you ever wanted to meet. He's got a YouTube channel called Standing Ghost Rescue. And if you know Donnie, especially like I know him now, if you're with him any amount of time, you're gonna catch yourself wanting to actually be a better person. That's how Donnie influences people. He don't do anything to do that. He's just that good a guy. That's how he makes me feel. He makes me want to be a better person. That's what a good guy he is. And I'm family with him now. His daughter basically adopted me as her grandpa Jeff. But Donnie had to adopt her when she was like 2 years old, and they were her only grandparents. And so they became mom and dad. She never had a grandparent that she remembered. And when I went to in 3 days, Donnie started with, she told me that I was going home the next morning, and she said, Mr. Jeff, I said, I wish you were my grandpa. And I mean, what you do when a kid says that to you, that's quite an honor, And she was serious too. She followed me. We went on about a 3-mile hike through the woods, and the grass was tall as she was. And that little dick is messing with me. She walked backwards through most of that, messing with me. She was just a little darling, man. Man, I think I loved her when I first saw her. But I ain't got to have she ain't got to be kin to me. No blood relation, me to love it. I think anybody that's raised kid feels that way. She's a precious little girl, and I told Donnie and Kim about it. Because it kind of bothered me, man. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to talk with them before I said anything. And Tony said, well, man, let me tell you something, man. She's never, ever, in her life, ever said that about anybody. Won't be her grandpa. So you take that for what it's worth. They said, she told me and Kim the same thing. They said, Jeff, you know, she don't have a grandparent at all. We were her grandparents. We had to adopt her, so we became mom and dad. And he said, well, Jeff, he said, if you do interested in something like that, so, you just be a member of our family. And I didn't know what to say. And so I said, Don, let me just think on it. Okay, let me think on it, and I'll let you know. Well, heck, I didn't have to think. I already know. Matter of fact, she tried to get me to stay there until she got home before I even. I was afraid to, so I started trying. She done got to me. She's so precious. And I am basically her grandpa. Period.
You're very close with Donnie and his family, and you've been down there a good bit. You actually have a corner of the property, from what I can remember, called Jeff's Corner, right?
He named that thing, that corner, after me, really to mess with me. On this encounter I'm going to tell you about, it got hairy. And I say it got hairy, it got to the point I thought I was going to have to fire on them. They wasn't escorting us out. They were walking, but they were coming after us. And we were already at the truck, and Donnie got nervous. He dropped the keys twice, trying to unlock the door, and I realized it was up to me. And all I did was just defend us. And I didn't have to fire a shot. But boy, I was seriously a heart attack. There was three of them coming from across that dirt road. And the one on my left, to my far left, was either the closest to me or the fastest one. I could feel his footfalls underneath my boots in that sand. And me sitting behind the truck with my rifle up. And Donnie's in an absolute panic. He's scared to death. I don't blame him. I was scared too. And so I said, Donnie, you won't live. I said, you better pick them keys. You better get that door unlocked. You won't live. You better get that door unlocked. And they were still coming. And I remember thinking they was using screech owl calls. I'd never heard of them before. They was using locators to coordinate their attack on us. And I told Donnie, I said, Donnie, I think we've been attacked, man. I really believe they're attacking us. I said, I ain't got time for this. I said, I'm gonna fight. And luckily I had my hog gun with me. I'm thankful I had that with me. And so I already had the chamber and the safety off. I was scared myself. But I remember thinking this thought just to myself. I didn't think it out loud, and I wasn't even trying to really talk to him. I just thought this to myself is all I've done. I said, yeah, you sure are fast. I said, you must be the fastest one all of you. I said, man, I tell you what, I said, that's impressive. You just keep on coming. Because the second you step in that dirt road, it's going to be the first one I drop. And I meant it too, but I wasn't joking a bit. I meant it. If it's ever me, it's got to be them. Ain't no justice for him. I ain't never want to kill nothing. I despise killing anything. Even when I hunt deer, I don't like killing. But it got down to the point I was gonna have to do something, or we were gonna. But when I said that thought went through my head. I said, "You're gonna be the first one I kill." I think what I said. And the second that thought went through my head, it was over. There was not another sound we heard. Period. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's what happened prior to that. That was just us leaving. I didn't have to fire a shot, thank God. I thought I was going to. I would have.
Can I ask you a question? So when you look through your scope of your rifle, describe to the audience what you saw.
Well, I need to give you a little. I need to go back a little bit to tell you that. What happened? Me and Donnie asked me to stand guard for him while he made a video. And I don't know how many of y'all been in Florida. Florida's a dangerous place. You got poison snakes. You got gators. You got Bigfoot. You got all kind of amount of critters, wild hogs, panthers. You got all kind of amount of critters that can do you harm. And Donnie knows he can't go out and do a video just looking through his camera. He got to have keep the sense about him. And he wanted me to just go stand guard for him, basically, keep him out of trouble while he does his video. I said, sure. So we get part of the truck and got out, and there's a big old swamp lake back there, a cypress swamp. And it's a drainage area, and that lake was probably 4 or 5 acres, I would imagine. It was really just a swamp drain off. It wasn't really a lake. And but as we started around that lake, just initially, the first thing we actually saw, and I'd never seen a lot of Bigfoot sign myself. But when we got started around that quiet lake, about halfway down the backside, we come across scat. And it was the biggest scat I've ever seen in my life. It was big around my forearm. It was two separate, but look almost human-like scat, except it was there's no animal I've ever seen could look scat that big. I mean, not unless you live in Africa somewhere, elephant maybe. But it looked like human excrement is what it looked like. It was full of berries and stuff. And I asked Donnie, I said, man, what in the world could leave a scat that big? I said, man, I don't know. That's the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I just kind of looked at him and grinned. I said, you reckon that's probably a howl, do you? Just to make a kind of joke. But we left there and started on back around the lake some more. And what I got to notice was they had some kind of like a swamp oak that was about maybe every 75 feet around, spaced out around that lake. But I started seeing all these big limbs. When I say big limbs, I mean monstrous limbs. Limbs that probably 5 men couldn't tote together. You got to have a tractor or something to drag them things up there. And they were all broken off. There were none of them cut. They were all broken off. And the broke off end was away from the lake, and the end of the thing was almost in the water. But it looks like something that made a barrier to keep maybe people out or something. I didn't know what to make of it. And I told Donnie, I said, look at all these little limbs out here, man. Something brought these limbs in here. They didn't come off none of the trees around there. And I'd never seen that before. I thought that was just so odd. And it wasn't just that one. There was about 3 or 4 different species of them to keep people coming up outside the lake. Well, maybe a 4-wheeler or walking in. It's just aggravating trying to get around them. So we talked about that and what we thought it was. And I kind of figured that was Bigfoot. But we didn't go in there looking for Bigfoot. Donnie's just making a video for his YouTube channel. And so the next thing we done, we got to the end of that lake and kind of walked back. They had a big area, fresh planted pines. Oh man, it was a huge area, hundreds of acres, I guess, planted pines. And I had already spotted something. I looked straight ahead, and the underbrush was maybe 4 foot tall. I think it's about 4 foot tall. Had the old grassy looking, hay looking stuff. It's real brown. And I saw what looked to me like the top half of a small coconut, and it was sticking up out of that brush. That wheat or whatever that stuff was, and I could have swore I saw it moving, just barely moving from left to right. And I'm thinking I couldn't determine if it was moving or the wind was blowing the leaves and stuff in front of it. And but I finally realized it did move. It did move 8 or 10 inches, I guess, one way before it stopped. And I went to and I was going to tell Donnie about it, but he was over filming on about maybe 20 yards from me. And I heard him say, there's something dark over behind that bush. And he kept his camera up for a good while, but he finally just discounted as a shadow. And the very second he turned that camera away from that bush, he saw a glimpse of something black. I didn't see it. But all we saw was the underbrush moving as it went in the thick part of the woods. I mean, it was so fast, you couldn't see it. You didn't look at it, I don't think you'd see it. It was so fast. We didn't know what it was. It unnerved Donnie pretty good. It scared the heck out of him. So when he come back over towards me, I said, Donnie, there's something else around here. I said, look at this thing. Look at that pine tree about maybe 4 feet. You see that thing sticking up out of the brush? What is that? I know it's moving. I tell you what I thought. I thought it was a baby Sasquatch. It had that little conical looking top on it, and it was too small to be an adult. I thought it was actually a juvenile, maybe standing up, and didn't know his head was sticking up out of the brush. Well, Donnie started trying to get on film, and he's short. I got a little high spot about maybe 7, 8 feet to my left. And Donnie wasn't tall enough. He used his camera, his phone, with joystick or selfie stick, I guess you call it, to film with. And he couldn't get him. He couldn't see what it was standing beside me, so he moved a little ways down from me, about maybe 15, 20 feet. And he raised that thing up, and he was shooting down into the bush. And that's when he saw it. He said, "Well, Jeff, you need to come look at this viewfinder. What? I don't know what we're seeing." I said, "Man," I said, "Donnie, I really don't want to move." I said, "Whatever that thing is real. I don't want to move. I know what it is. I'm just going to stay in place here." And so he tried to get me 2 or 3 more times. I wouldn't let my guard down to go look, because I basically guarded him. Me too. I told Donnie, I said, "Donnie, I don't want to." It's not Donnie. I said, "Well, Jeff, you got serious." He said, "I don't know what in the world that thing is, but it's got great big old eyes and it's got ears like a bat." Well, man, when he said that, I don't know why I thought it, but the first thing I thought it was Dogman. I'm even sure I ain't believed him at that point or not. But when he said that, every fiber of my being said, "Oh my Lord, it's a Dogman. It's a Dogman." And I didn't look at the camera like I said, the viewfinder. And I know Bigfoot ain't got no point of view like Mr. Bog, so pretty well determined. We had a Dogman up there about 20 yards from us, and basically facing us. I thought, and it was facing us. So Donnie started feeling almost nauseous. He said, "Brother Jeff, I'm gonna go back there to the lake. I'm gonna pull back there in the lake. You know, curious. I ain't feeling good." He got scared too. I wish he got PTSD bad, real bad, so his encounter. And I said, and I didn't say one word. I just motioned him to come on by me. Well, he did. He stopped. He said, "Well, Jeff, I don't know how to," you can hear him say this in the video on his channel. He said, "Well, Jeff, I don't know how to tell you this." He said, "What I saw," he said, "I saw something, but I don't know how I can describe it. It looked like one of them aliens. It was behind that thing, but it looked like one of them aliens. That's the only way I can describe it." And I just kind of nodded acknowledgement to him, and I never saw it myself. I never saw that until he downloaded the video. So, but the Dogman is a good story. So he goes on back down the lake. I'm just standing there with my rifle up, safety off, training on that little public covenant thing. And all of a sudden, man, imagine my surprise when that thing raised its head completely up out of the brush. And what Donnie filmed to me looked like a juvenile a Dogman or something. It wasn't that big, but what stood up, that thing raised its whole head up to watch us, make sure we were walking away. And it didn't see me. And when it looked, I'm sure it knew there were 2 of us to be talked. And it didn't see me. I saw panic come across this thing. I've never seen an expression in human as great as I saw in this Dogman. You could read everything about it. Its expression was just so exaggerated. When it didn't see me, it like went. You could see the shocking, almost fear of where was I at. I mean, you could tell it was obvious. Well, it didn't even turn its head to look for me. It just shot over the head, great big old amber eyes. When I say amber, I mean amber like those fog lights. You know, your old cars back in the 60s. I mean, it was that amber. And it shot both of my eyes right to where I was standing. And that scared look turned into a more of an angry look. It never growled at us, never roared, nothing like that, and never moved towards us. I'd blow his head off. I had that little pole fire dot right on his forehead. It's 1.25 by 4-power scope, fill split scope, and from hog gun, my AR-15. And I just kept the training. I have to shank that thing out about 2 3/4 pound trigger on it. You touch that trigger, it's going off. And I had that fired up right on his forehead. I mean, literally right on his forehead. And when it realized it was looking at the business in that 450 Bushmaster, I literally watched that thing. It turned from, "Oh, I got you now," to absolute fear. You could see I watched that thing swallow and gulp in my scope. I could see its Adam's apple move up and down when it swallowed. It was like, and it went down periscope instantly. It come up real slow when it come up, but it went down. I mean, that quick. It knew I had it. He made a bad mistake. I don't think he made many, but that made a bad mistake because I'd moved. It didn't catch me moving, and that's the reason he didn't catch me with Donnie to start with. I just moved out. He didn't know I moved, and man, this is the weird part. I took a prayer. When Donnie told me what he saw, I took a prayer. I said, "Well, we might need your help. I don't know what we're facing here today," and it was sincere. I was worried, and but when I saw that thing, when that thing raised its head up, I should have been terrified. That's the scariest looking thing I've ever seen. I wasn't scared of it at all. And I didn't understand that at first. I just didn't understand it. As a matter of fact, when it run its head down, I said I might be old man alive, but give a dogman a uh-oh moment. I give that one. It knew I had it. It knew it made a mistake and I could have shot it. I believe it absolutely knew that. And I started talking trash to it. Don't ask me why I did that. I can't explain that. But I started saying, like, you know I had you, didn't you? I could blow your head slap off. But I said I didn't because you didn't offer to hurt me or Donnie anyone. I said I return that same behavior back to you. I said, don't let me see you stick your head up again before I get back to that truck. I said, and I mean that. And I never did see it anymore. But I can't explain to you why I was talking trash when I should have been terrified. I wasn't going to screw that thing. I am you. And I figured out later why, and it's because I believe the good Lord took my fear away from me. Because he knew what was coming. And I was going to have all my senses about me. That's why I believe that happened. And I'm still not scared of them. I could walk right up to one and poke him in the eye. As far as being scared, and I ain't stupid. I wouldn't do that. I ain't stupid. But I just had no fear of them. My fear was gone. It's never returned. And that's the only explanation I could give you for why that's like that. I don't have the ability to just control my fear that way. That's the scariest looking thing I've ever seen in my life, but I had no fear of it. I still had no fear of them this very day. And the long story short, is me and Donnie start back. Well, after we had that encounter, I pulled back because I walked backwards the whole way down the hill down to Donnie's lake down there. And we got down back to the end of the lake. Here was just it had to be at least 11 foot tall, Bigfoot, or skunk ape, whatever you want to call him. It was standing in the wide open. It wasn't even trying to hide. There was one big old vine hanging down. And that vine was the only thing covering any part of him. And he was looking at us with a really ugly, bad look on his face. And I made a mistake. I had my Steiner binoculars, and I just turned up and looked at him. And I wish I'd never done that.
What'd you think, Dad?
He wanted to kill us. That's what he wanted. He had to look. He wanted to kill us. And I wish I'd never looked at it, to be honest with you. To this day, I can't get that image out of my head. It's just ingrained in my memory. I wish I'd never looked at it. And anybody, I'm going to tell you anybody something. Any of y'all want to have a sighting? That's all fine and good, but I'm going to tell you something. Just be advised, you may spend the rest of your life trying to get over it. That if it's a bad one like we had. Anyway, listen, just stand there, and I realized, man, we need to get out of here. Here's a dog man, here's a 11-foot Bigfoot. We need to get the heck out of here. Because Donnie can't run. He got 2 broken backs and a broken neck. To look upwards, he had to lean backwards like this in the cup. And so he had no ability to actually run. So Donnie, I said, Donnie, you head for that truck as fast as you can possibly move. I said, I know you can't run. As long as you can walk as absolutely as fast as you can. After I seen the look on that thing's face in my binoculars, I want to stand down there. So we done that with post haste. We made it all the way back to the truck. And then we started hearing these street y'all calls about maybe 20, 30 yards before we got to the truck. I didn't know what kind of bird it was. I'd never heard a screech owl before. So there was 3 of them coming from across the dirt road from us, one in the plenty pines behind us and one behind that swamp lake. And they were converging on us. You could tell by the sound. They were converging on us at the truck. And Donnie's trying to get that truck going, man, get it open. And he dropped the keys 2 different times. And he was so scared and fumbling so bad, I didn't think he was gonna get him in. And we was under attack. I had to make a decision. And I just switched over to fight mode. I'm too fat to run far anyway. I figured I had a whole lot better chance fighting. You cannot run these things. I figured I had a whole lot better chance fighting than I would running. So that's where we was at. And that's when I told that one, I said, boy, you sure are fast. And this is what's weird. When I made that decision, every sense I had heightened. My vision got clearer, my hearing got better, and I got terrible hearing. All of my senses got better. But that was the closest one to me. I knew that. And I told you, I said, tell you something. Just keep on coming. I said, when you do, I said, when you bust into that dirt road, you're going to be the first one I kill. And I meant it. I know what I said. And it evidently read, I've heard them read your intent and your thought or whatever, and it must have read both of mine. And when I said that, it all stopped instantly. I mean, they wasn't another. They sound like racehorses walking, running the woods. You couldn't hear another sound, not another football, not anything. It was completely and absolutely silent. And I don't know. The only reason I that had to be from that thought I had. And they kind of taught me something that day too. I was too scared to go in the front of the truck back over my. Now I finally heard the inside lock unlock on the Tahoe. He grabbed my Tahoe, and I was afraid to walk around the front of the truck, even with that rifle in my hand. I turned and went around the back of the truck, and it was just a better tactical move to get back to the door. And I jumped back in that truck with that 2 3/4 pound safety still off. That's why I jumped the truck with it like that. And told Donnie, I said, "Go, man, go!" And he nailed that thing. He was just fishtailing left and right all the way out of that curve. Really, he kept it there pretty much all the way out. I didn't even turn around and look behind it. I didn't want to see what it was. I didn't care what it was. I didn't want to see what it was. But they taught me something that day. I didn't realize. They taught me something that they can read their thoughts and their intent. But what they taught me more than anything was they want to live just as much as we do. And I think they were ordered to attack us. For that big one there, the bomb in the lake. I really and truly believe that's what happened. And I think the alien is the one that told me that alien that was over side that Dogman. Now, can't none of us go lay in the brush side of Dogman. None of us can. The alien was doing it. I never saw it until he downloaded the video. But it was there. It wasn't very far off from it. And I have no explanation for none of this. It screwed me up. For about close to a year. I finally had pieced it all together in my head, and we're talking to Donnie all the time what actually happened. And it's because Donnie got that alien on film. He got it. You can see it plain as day in that video. And we got the alien and the Dogman on film, and that big one at the end of the lake. And man, people still don't believe it.
Well, Jeff,
I can't.
Can I tell you something that we talked about this week. And I don't know if you can hear me well, but I was talking with our friend William Nighthawk, and he was saying that on sacred lands, let me turn this down real quick. He said that on sacred lands, Native American lands, the cryptids have been kind of summoned there. They're kind of placed there to protect the land at all costs against people like us, that came and settled there, let's just say. And so that could have something to do with it. And maybe, they're there to protect it.
I can tell you for a fact, it wasn't an escort out. I've been escorted out many times. That wasn't an escort out. That was all out of assault on us. And had I not made the decision I made, I don't think me and Donnie was left there that day. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we left there. We both felt the same way. We think we've been missing that 411 list, 911 list.
411, missing 411.
And not a trace of us. What we figured would happen. But I was dead serious when I told them that, and it all stopped instantly. I mean, how can 5 of them be running together simultaneously, and just snap your finger, and it all stops instantly? No sound. You couldn't hear a sound at all. And I thought that was so strange. And by the time I heard the inside door unlock, and I come around the back of the truck and got in, jumped, and we took off. We didn't say a word to each other the entire way home back to his house. It was about a 45-minute ride, I guess, and we didn't even speak to each other. We were both in shock, I guess. But Donnie, I think Donnie thinks I'm larger than life or something, just because he kind of went the piece on that. Well, I'm not no different than anybody else, man. We were being attacked, and if it's me or them, it's gonna be them. If it's me against anybody else, it's gonna be them. If that's what I got to do to live. I just know whatever I had to do to defend me and Donnie. I think he kind of thinks I'm a little larger than life, and that's not true. I'm not no different than anybody else. I just didn't want to get killed by these things.
Well, Jeff, I think the audience can see now why you're my personal you're my personal security guard now, right?
Yes, ma'am, I certainly am. Anybody has a problem with Justin, will have a problem with me. That's just like we are. She's family to me. Her son and mom, she may be the nicest person I've ever met in my life. And I don't say that lightly. she's a wonderful human being. She don't talk about people behind her. She's just a wonderful human being. And she's done a great job raising that son of hers. He's quite a character himself. I just love them. I love them all. They just like they family to me. And I defend them just like I would family.
And I appreciate that, Jeff. That's sweet of you. We love you.
Yeah, I love y'all too. They're awesome, man. I know that person.
I have a question for you, Jeff. What do you think that the dogmen would have done had you shot one? Do you think they would have attacked you?
I don't know. But if he'd made a step forward, he'd found out. I'd blow the head off like a watermelon, man. I had Buffalo Boy hard cast that thing, 365 grain hard cast. That thing, I think it chill a dang elephant, man. That's a vicious round. That's just for hogs. It wasn't for them, it's for hogs. But that day it would have been a booger buster if it had to be. I did not want that to happen. And matter of fact, after that incident, I actually went back down there with Donnie. Donnie stayed in the truck. But I got out and actually spoke to the woods. I said, look, y'all, we didn't want no trouble, y'all. Y'all attacked us and we had to defend ourselves. And I said, I don't want no trouble with you at all. So I want y'all to know that wasn't intentional on our part. We weren't trying to see y'all or it just happened. We were in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm sorry, we were. We won't be back, I assure you. We haven't been back. I don't ever want to go back that place again. I really thought we was going to die, to be honest with you. I thought they were going to be my last stand. It wasn't, thank God. God helped us that day and watched over us and made a way for us to be there intact. And I really thank him for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, was that on Donnie's property?
That was on Donnie's property. This is on some state land that's about 15 miles from Donnie's house. It's like a state management area, kind of. Man, that's an active place. Let me tell you, there's a natural plum tree there. That's probably about maybe 200 yards from where we had that encounter. It's on the main road going in there, that dirt road. And go up and stay by that plum tree about 15 minutes. You'll find out how much they think of that plum tree. Now, we got grabbed. I slept. I about jumped out of my skin. They guard that plum tree. They don't want nobody around it. Matter of fact, one of them threw an oak log about maybe 75 yards. I was on my oak tree around. It threw the log, hit Donnie's camper. She over on his truck. It come over the dang plum tree, hit that camper shell dead center between them two windows on his camper. You couldn't walk up there and hit it point blank and hit it any closer. That thing threw that shit. And what's so funny? That's funny. You go, you watch. Donnie, in his ignorant innocence, did not know that was Bigfoot doing that. He thought it was either some teenagers or thought it was some guy maybe growing marijuana or something back there on that government property. And even when Donnie's mad, he ain't real mad. He went got his gun out of the truck, and he's standing there trying to figure all this out in his head. What happened? You know, and he's doing deductive reading. I mean, if he had known that was Bigfoot, he would have jumped in that truck head first to that door and not stopped. He got safety. I mean, that's how he reacts to him. He just, and we had one try to kill him in that Mariana, Florida once. And it was a terrible, that's what, you know, like PTSD. I don't blame being scared of him, man. He got reason to be scared of him. Typically, an alpha male, 10, 11 foot alpha male, don't get within 3 or 4 feet of you, stomping the ground with his fist and feet to scare you. He's been doing you in. He just wants to get you good and scared before he does it. And the only thing saved him that day was his girlfriend in the car, clicking his headlight at her. And she turned the headlights on the car, and it run air conditioner on, and she seen what was behind him, and she sit down the horn and it run. That's the only thing that probably got him out of there that night. He still won't go back down there. That was a mean one. That was a real mean one. I went down that before.
Well, Jeff, I got a question. Do you think that there could be a portal on that property out there? Is that kind of the thought process? Have y'all thought about that?
Be a portal anywhere, I think. I don't know about that property. All I know is what happened to us that day. We've never been back there. I got no reason to ever go back there again. I tell them it was an accident, and I'll be honest with you, I could use this no fear thing against him. I really could have. That ain't why God done that. He willed my fear to be gone. He didn't will it be on me to hunt these things. He will be gone for us to will that day and survive that attack. And I tell you what, I go on the property, scan them, and this is how they react to me. Look at me on that property, they can sense our fear. There's no doubt in my mind. When they don't sense fear in me, it's like they default to absolute silence and absolute, they don't move whatsoever. They don't make any sound and they don't move at all. They just stay hid and stay quiet. And I've actually checked that on several properties. Some of my buddies won't want to come back there anymore because they don't get no audio or nothing from down there. That's how they react to it. I don't know if it's, I don't know why, but I don't think it's normal for somebody not to have fear of them. They know that. They know we're scared of them. They know how scared they are to us. So any people hadn't had a sighting and you want one, careful what you ask for. And that's my advice to you. Careful what you ask for. Don't go in the woods unarmed. And go in the woods with your head on a swivel and being conscious that that's always a possibility. I didn't think it would have happened either. To me, it did. And luckily I survived it. I wouldn't wish what I felt at them and went through that down on any other human. I would not wish it on anybody. It was terrible. Donnie suffered big time for it. I did too for a good while. I scared up. I had no fear of them, but the trauma I went through before that happened. It's just something that stays with you. It's ingrained in my memory. I never forget what happened. That's probably the same exact way every time. Nothing's changed. But they were cohabitating too. The Bigfoot, I heard back then, everybody says, oh, they won't cohabitate. By God, they was too. They was cohabitating together on that property. And nobody will convince me otherwise. And that was a real alien. That's the ugliest thing I've seen in my life. It ain't like one of these gray-looking aliens like we see on, these shows. This thing, it looked almost like a small version of one of the Predators, like a Predator movie. I only had 2 fingers on one hand, and you could see them 2 fingers had pointed fingers, not nailed but pointed fingers. It would take and literally on the screenshots I took of it, you could see him pulling the brush out of the way from his face so you could see around it. I only had two digits along that one hand anyway. I couldn't see the other hand. But it had some kind of spacesuit on, a white looking. Its face was like white too, but it had like a white looking, some kind of outfit on, like a belt thing on it. And there was something around its neck, like some kind of hose or something. I don't know exactly what it was. But it was obviously some kind of spacesuit. I never saw the alien. I never saw it myself until he downloaded the video. I'd done a bunch of screenshots and I saw it. But he saw it up close and personal, man. I don't know what the connection is, but there's a connection between aliens and these things. I don't know what that connection is, but it's something all of us should be asking each other. What is that connection?
Well, that's what we talk about, Jeff. That's what we talk about on this channel.
That wasn't the come making a house call, do you? I don't know. I don't know what it is. That's all I can tell you is what happened to us. I'm just glad we survived it. To be honest with you. Now, as far as the portal goes, I don't know if there's one there or not. Very possibly could be one. But there is one not far from there I do know about. And it's in the sky. They come in. They come through it like an orb form. And they come through that thing, and you can see it. It's like I got pictures of it actually. And I don't know how many of y'all believe this, and how many of you don't, but kind of figure that's the secret, man. Why? I know why they avoid game cameras like they do, and all cameras. I figured it out. And they have the ability to shapeshift as well. I learned that from Robin McCrae and Pat McCrae. They have my car around the house. They saw one doing it in the yard, a little bitty one. See, that thing would blow up. It looked like some kind of abomination. You know what that thing was. But they was teaching it to hunt and teaching it to change its shape. I guess they change your sound and vibration, change your molecular structure or whatever. But when that one that came through that portal above in the sky, there's two parts. We don't know where the other one's at, but that one we do know where it's at. We got the game come and took a picture of it. But there's 5 pictures total, and in every picture you see this orbit is expanding and getting larger and larger. It was huge at one point, and you can tell it's evolving into something other than an orb. And the last picture it took, I swear, if there was one more picture, I'd bet a substantial amount of my own money that there'd been a Bigfoot standing there. That the last interview that I saw, it was like a 5-pointed star. It was like it started forming a body, but you could see 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth in the upper corner of that star. Amazing. Most amazing photos I've ever seen. But that's what clued me why they actually do avoid. I've heard more excuses about why they avoid cameras than anybody knows. But I think that's the real reason they avoid cameras. I think their life depends on it. It would change the government's people's perception of them if they knew they were actually interdimensional travelers or whatever, coming here. That's just my take on it. That's what I saw. That's what I gathered from those pictures and talking to Robin and Craig. And ironically, Robin talked to that Bigfoot that sicked them on me and Donnie down there, the big one that's in the lake, and it lied to her. It didn't mention that alien whatsoever. I thought that was interesting. I didn't think it'd tell stories, but that one did. It never even mentioned it.
It's not super uncommon, Jeff. I know it's not a lot of people hear about Dogman, Bigfoot, aliens all together, but it does happen. And my team has actually had some potential encounters with Bigfoot and aliens actually in the same vicinity together. So it's not that uncommon.
You told that story on Bigfoot Odyssey after it happened with Carrie on, and I didn't want to tell it. I really didn't want to tell it. I felt like it was too unbelievable for people to believe it. And and I put myself in those shoes. If somebody had told me what happened to us happened to them, I don't know that I could have believed it. I'll be honest with you. Just being a common sense guy, I don't know that I could have believed it, but I can tell you for a fact. I don't lie. Anybody knows me knows I don't lie at all. I wouldn't lie to save my own hind end. If I got in trouble, I wouldn't lie. But that happened to us. Everything happened just like I said it did. We got it on video too. You just can't see everything. You don't hear the screech up, you can cut the camera off. We just trying to get the truck up. There's a lot happening at 45 minutes that day. It all happened like 45 minutes time. And it was dynamic to say the least. If I ever see another one, not. I used to go working in Lockheed. I had to go by myself. I released all the planes for flight. I was C130 for flight. I had a very important job, and I was afraid they would literally pull me off flight line. They thought I believed in Bigfoot, and I'd go out and hunting. Instead of going hunting, I didn't want to really research, and I was just wanting to find out for myself what these things were. But I had to go by myself many times, and I had some hair-raising things happen to me then. But not like what happened down yonder. Down yonder was a whole different story. That wasn't no walkout. That wasn't an escort out. I don't care what nobody says. That was not an escort out. They were coming for us. But I really believe that comes from the aliens, that Bigfoot, because he knew we got it on film. The alien knew we filmed him. I don't think he liked that too much at all. That's what actually happened. I have a Bible. That's what happened.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it, big time. And I was going to ask Mark. Mark, do you have any questions for Jeff tonight?
Well, I was just thinking about the story that he was relating. I was curious in that first instance where that hyena type creature crossed the road. Did it stay on all fours the whole time?
All fours from the time I thought when it come out when the deer did, all the way across the road before they went in the woods at on the other side. It never went too big. It was big barrel chested thing. It looked almost like it reminded me of a bison or a buffalo. Look at it from the side. Had this great big old chest and head, and then it narrowed down to a smaller waist and hips. It's the rear. It's real strange looking. It was like it was way too big in the front, and not big enough in the rear. But it was a fierce looking thing. I wouldn't want it to trade with me. I tell you that.
Oh yeah.
That ended my hunt down there. And I didn't tell that to nobody till Jess told me she done that remote viewing LBL and told me what done it. And they were a lot more common than people think they are. I just didn't think anybody had ever seen one besides me. And I don't like being ridiculed. I wish it was true, but I don't like being the base of a joke. People act like you ain't telling the truth. I'm real funny about that. Like when I was the inspector at Lockheed, I always made sure I was right before I ever turned in a piece of paperwork in the airplane. I made sure I was correct. And I don't like being embarrassed. And I don't like being ridiculed either. But I was really afraid that the company would pull me out of my position if they found that I was checking in on Bigfoot and going Bigfooting by myself. So I keep all that quiet for years. My buddy, I love that guy, man. He's the only one wasn't afraid to wake the bear up. He wasn't afraid to poke the bear.
He just said to ask me who wakes the grizzly bear up.
Nobody's come to wake me up in my Tahoe. I don't know why, but they wouldn't. Maybe I sound like a bear and I'm snoring or something, but nobody would come wake me up except Patrick. Patrick come there, he'd be on the side of the truck and just wake me up like he wasn't nothing. That was kind of funny. We laughed about that. I thought that was funny anyway. Everybody else afraid to wake me up. I'm a nice guy, man.
Oh yeah, well you got a bunch of people in the chat tonight that know you very well, Jeff. So there's a lot of people here to come and show you some support tonight. So and we love you.
I got a lot of good friends, and I thank most every one of them. And believe it or not, I owe most all of them to Cherry Arnold. Cherry's the one who opened that door for me, and I went into Duke after I retired, and he just welcomed me in, man, and introduced me to all these wonderful people. So I got a lot of friends. That's the whole lot to owe somebody for. So what to owe a man for. But Cherry was that kind of guy, man. He always took time to help anybody. He helped me. And we became the best of friends. And it really, I miss him every day. I really do. I miss him every day. He was a good guy. And people got their own opinions, but I know Cherry personally, and I know he was a good guy, and I know he was honest. And I've seen that fear he lived with in his encounter. No one should have to live with that kind of fear. Nobody. I saw it firsthand myself. Then Cherry left his hunting club and was going to cut some firewood. And we got about 75, 80 yards away from the camp, and we walked right through the smell of them. Man, it made my eyes water. It was so bad. And I shut my pistol immediately. I thought they were right on us. And I made about 3 rounds looking around, looking up, looking down, and realized it was actually clear. And I told Cherry, it's okay, man. Ain't nothing here. There's nothing close to us, I promise you. And he didn't respond back to me. And when I walked around, I said, "You hear me?" He was locked up. He just froze up, locked up, man. I never told anybody about that because I didn't want to embarrass him. But I saw his fear firsthand myself, and it was awful. Having lived that way, to be like that, something. I guess when he's been smelling, he thought we was dead. He thought he was dead, I guess. And I finally got him out of it. I said, "Look, man, I'm gonna stay here and stand guard for us. Make sure nothing slips up on us. Why don't you go and start cutting some wood?" I said, "We need some firewood tonight." And he finally went and started working. Didn't say a word. Hardly say a word to me though. Next 30 minutes so. Finally started talking a little bit. But I saw that fear firsthand myself. And it was awful. I'd hate to know I was like that or anybody else was like that. We didn't talk about that. That's when he called me his bodyguard. He started calling me his bodyguard after that. And I consider that high praise from Cherry. And I wouldn't.
Wait a second. You're my bodyguard, Jeff. You're mine.
What? I know you. I can't even. I just I know too.
Mine too.
I'm a firm believer in right and wrong. I've always lived my life that way, and I've always followed my heart. Whatever, that's been my guiding light. That good boy, tell us what to do and stuff, and good parents teaching us stuff. And I've always been that way. And I tell the truth. As much as I know what it is, I tell the truth. There's no need to ever lie to somebody. Not in my opinion. I ain't smart enough to lie and keep up with it. I have to be honest. And I'm going to be honest. I don't care if I hurt your feelings, I'm going to be honest. It's just, it's who I am. But Carrie, I love Carrie. I love those Carrie Arnold. I love Linda. She is, they're just good people, man. And I miss him every day.
He's a good person. I never got the opportunity to meet him, but I know the community lost a great person. So we have one last question tonight, Jeff.
Sure.
Don Moore's in the chat. He's wondering when are you going back to Jeff's Corner?
What now?
When are you going back to Jeff's Corner?
I hopefully I'm going back. Hopefully I'm going in May. I've got two ladies I know that's good friends of mine, Pat Laney and a friend of hers. Matter of fact, I ain't talked to Donnie yet, but they wanted to go speak to Donnie ever since he had his channel. And Pat's a great friend of mine. I love her to death. She's such a good person. And I got to talk to Donnie about that, but they're going to drive down, and what I plan on doing is taking them down. I'm going to meet Donnie and Kim and Rosie. We're just going to spend a weekend and get a hotel. I'll get a room whether they get one, so I can keep an eye on them, make sure they safe. And it's too much to, that's too much to go to somebody's house, 3 people, as far as I'm concerned. So that's what my plan is, to go back down there in May. Sometime towards maybe the middle of May, towards the end of it, that's when I'm planning on going down. And I'm looking forward to it, man. I look forward to every trip down there to him. He is just like my brother. We're our family. He's my family, I'm his, and that's how they treat me when I'm down there. They're like family. They're just good folks, man. And Donnie don't hunt to hunt. Donnie hunts to feed his family. And he subsistence hunts. I've hit to get a lot of things, make it easy on him, like one little rickshaw thing he took the gear on, and stuff to process it with, a better grinder and stuff like that, electric, and it's called I love him. He's just a really, really good man. He's better than I am. I'll be honest with you. I think he is. I think Donnie's a much better person than I am. If one of us had to go, I'd want it to be me. I think it'd be a lot better off if Donnie stay here instead of me. That's how much I think of it. And I'd make my final stand with him any day of the week. And I'd step in front of him anytime to protect him or defend him, just like I would you.
Well, thank you.
I am. You take pretty good care of yourself. She's pretty tough, but she's tougher than she looks, man. Oh, yeah, she's tougher than she looks. I promise you.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm tough.
Oh, absolutely. I know you're tougher than you look.
Hey, Jeff, don't tell anybody. That's a secret. You're not supposed to tell people how tough I am.
I didn't tell why you were. That's just you are. You got grit. You got true grit. And I like that. I like that in anybody.
Well, thank you, Jeff.
I got a bit of courage in anyone.
I appreciate that. And you too, David Perdue. I appreciate that in the chat. Yeah. Jeff, thank you so much for being here today and for coming and sharing your stories with us. I mean, this is just wonderful. I do love you, Jeff. I think you're the best. And I just wanted to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because what you bring to the table and your story that you told us, it I don't want to say it just changes the game, really, but it just really puts the information out there about Dogman from a firsthand experience where you saw one close up. You didn't even mention its teeth. Why don't you tell the audience about its teeth?
I didn't really describe it. It had those amber eyes. I remember saying that, but it actually had a mane, like a lion's mane, but it was much shorter. I'd say maybe 4 inches, I guess. But I could see that mane sticking out all the way around its head, and I could only see it to the bottom of its chin. That's as far as it raised up was to the bottom of its chin. But it had a pretty dang long snout, longer than a dog does. and I could see big old curved teeth, very white teeth, curved down and, from the front of his mouth, and looked like he had another set towards the center of his mouth. But those teeth were absolutely glistening white. It never grounded us. It never made any attempt like to do it, to indicate any harm to us at all. And that's the reason I didn't. If it had, I'd have shot it. But that's why I didn't shoot it. It didn't make any attempt towards us. I couldn't justify that, and I wouldn't. I don't want to shoot anything unless I have to. It was scary, y'all. You had been there. It messed me up for about a year. I didn't go anywhere for almost a year. But I finally sorted it all out and got it in my head what actually happened. We were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Basically, we were in the worst place we could have been in at the wrong time. And I think that's basically what happened to us. And we got a hell of a caliber for it. That alien looking thing. I wish I knew the secret behind that. It bombed me. I guess the day I die. I don't know how I'd ever figure that, but there is a relationship there between them. I don't know if they're in control of it or what, but there's a relationship there, a real relationship.
Yeah.
Can't tell you what it is. There's one there.
Jeff, we're going to continue to look into that and try to get some more stories together, and as many people as I bring on my shows, we're gonna try to figure some of this stuff out, and it's with people like yourself and Donnie and Mark here. Mark's has had his own share of stories. We're gonna start figuring this stuff out together.
Yeah, much respect to Mark, Cryptidville. He's a nice guy. We used to talk a bunch of some of the chats. I got a lot of respect for him. He's somebody I go with any day of the week. He knows what he's doing. He's a good man. I appreciate you, Mark. I know that, man. A lot of respect your way, brother.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Same for you, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you.
For sure. Well, thank y'all both for being here tonight.
Thank you.
I absolutely appreciate both of y'all from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you'll both come back. Jeff, you better come back and hang out with us again soon, okay?
I'll be on it anytime. I'll be honest with you. I don't do this much, but of course I ain't gonna. You ask me, it's gonna be you know that. I thought the family, they're just such good people, and they're family to me. They really are.
What? I got a picture of us from yesterday. This was just yesterday.
That was yesterday. That was a great day. Great day. I had a really good time.
That was a good day.
It'll be in something else, man. Tell him what he asked me. When someone says, are you a capitalist? I said,
okay, don't stop. Don't say that on air. Oh my gosh. I have a silly kid, y'all. I do. But hopefully, you know what? My son is learning from people like you, Jeff, and gets to actually be in the presence of people like yourself with a lot of wisdom, and that's what makes all the difference in raising that kid.
Well, I think Mom done a real good job too, and Grandma. I think y'all done an excellent job. It's pretty obvious, maybe.
Thank you.
I like him a lot, man. He's funny. He's really funny. He looked just like a GI Day. Yesterday, he looked just like a soldier. He done made him armor out of cardboard, a white jacket, had the helmet, and had them candy cigarettes in his hat and his helmet. He had one in his mouth. He looked just like a dang Vietnam soldier or something, man.
He's reincarnated. Yeah, he's a reincarnated soldier. I know he is.
He's quite a cool kid, man.
He is.
I think he is. He really is. He's fun. He's fun.
He is. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. I will call you tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow, either later tonight, okay? And just thank you so much for your story.
Absolutely, anytime. It was my pleasure. Okay. My pleasure.
Okay.
Bye. Well, appreciate all y'all, man. Thank you. Good to see you, brother. Take care.
Have a good one.
You have a good one, Jeff. I'm going to take you backstage, okay? And I'll call you later, okay?
Thanks, hon.
All right, bye,
Bye,
Jeff.
y'all.
Thank you. Okay. See ya. Okay. Yeah, that was amazing. Oh my gosh, Mark, thank you so much for co-hosting with me tonight.
You're welcome.
And being here. Yeah, I mean, Jeff and I have been friends for a little while now, and I've heard many stories, many encounters from him, and I think he's got a lot of wisdom, okay, and a lot of experience, and it takes a lot of nerve, just to have calm nerves to not react and shoot something like that, like what he saw at that moment, okay, because a lot of people get trigger happy, right? I mean. I mean, but I guess it's not until you get into that position, you don't know how you're going to react.
Well, that's the thing with encounters. A lot of people say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to react this way or whatever. But until you're actually in that moment, you don't know.
That's right. You never know. You never know. Man, I hope I'm never in that position. I really don't. Of course, I'm out there I'm doing the work with David Pardue right here in the chat. David's going to be on a future show, maybe next week. Maybe we'll bring him on next Saturday if he's free, to talk about, he's had sightings in basically his backyard almost, okay, with something that might have been a reptilian. Okay, so that's going to be another really fantastic show. And David is a diehard boots on the ground field researcher out of North Carolina, and we've spent a lot of time in the woods together. And he actually has helped impart. He's given some wisdom and taught my son some of the things that he knows when it comes to the field research and learning. I know Jeff had mentioned scat. Okay, that's poop for people who aren't familiar. I'm sure y'all know. But David actually taught my son the difference between deer and buck poop and stuff like that. So, it's little stuff like that you got to know in order to do cryptid field research. So just to do any kind of tracking and all that kind of stuff, you got to know. So it's just basic skills. So thank you, David. Yes, my son is one of the next generation of researchers, by the way, y'all. And yeah, we're setting him up for success right now by taking him out there and teaching him those things. So, Mark, do you have any final thoughts on tonight's show, on what we talked about and what Jeff had to say?
All I can say is that was definitely an interesting encounter that Jeff had, and I guess my final thought would be the sentiment that Jeff expressed, which was that folks should be, more aware of what they're really asking for when they're saying that they're interested in having an encounter with one of these things. And I could tell you firsthand from my experiences, you know, you never know how an encounter is going to affect you. I've seen grown men, hyperventilate about to have a heart attack, because because they see a Bigfoot. And I've seen people, and then there's myself, in that same situation, in that same location at the same time with that same person who's hyperventilating and having that reaction, who is just calm and is like, whatever you do, just don't make it bad. So you can never tell how you're going to react. And with me, it's always a thing of, each encounter is different, and each encounter warrants its own reaction. So I guess that would be my parting words for the evening. And I just want to thank you for having me on as a co-host, and I want to thank Jeff for coming on and sharing his experience.
Oh man, thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Well,
thank you to D.A. Roberts and Robbie Rains, man. They're in the chat too. I know they had a show tonight. They had a great show tonight. They had Ryan Tremblay on their channel. So you guys go over there and subscribe if you hadn't already to DA's channel as well. And love these guys. Thank you for being here, DA and Robbie. And everybody else that's been in the chat tonight. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for all the love and the support. And Callie, I forgot to mention Callie in the very beginning. We got a new channel member tonight. Thank you, Callie. I appreciate that so much. If you guys would like to become a channel member, hit that join button on the main page of my channel here at YouTube and become a member. I do put exclusive content out there as well. So that's a lot of fun. And shout out to everybody. Everybody's got a star by their name. Those are channel members. So thank you guys so much for all the support. And yeah, wow. What a great story. I hope Jeff will come back and hang out. And Mark, I hope you'll come back and do some more co-hosting with me too, because that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I know Jeff came in a little late today, and so we had a lot to talk about. Though we never run out of stuff to talk about here.
Oh yeah, there's always stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, for sure. And speaking of which, I'll be back tomorrow night, you guys. I'll be on Spaced Out Radio tomorrow. So you guys tune in. That's over on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel at 10 p.m. So I hope y'all come back and see me. Otherwise, y'all have a wonderful night. Everybody stay safe out there. And we've got a bad storm over here right now. So I'm afraid, I've been so worried my power was going to go out this whole time. So we made it. It didn't go out tonight. So Mark, have a wonderful night. Thanks again for being here. Sure. You guys have a great night. Like I said, go lock your doors, stay safe, and I will see y'all tomorrow. All right. Bye, y'all.